Hi, my name is Amanda Singh, and I'm a junior at AUP, and I'm doing this documentary to see how our air quality at AUP is. Now, while I was doing this research, I actually found out that printers are actually harmful for our environment. One thing that is actually harmful for us is the ozone gas that printers actually emit. This occurs during high electrical voltage discharge, which is released through the printer when it's overheated or it has low ventilation in its environment. Ozone gas can decompose rapidly, but due to the atmosphere in our environment, if it's hot or high humidity or the temperature is really high, ozone gas is going to slowly decompose, which is really bad for our breathing. Now, ozone gas is highly toxic and produces a sweet smelling odor when it's in the air. Now, another bad thing that printers release is carbon monoxide gas. Now, this happens when the photocopier or the laser printer toner is heated in an inadequate air supply. Now, this can induce headaches, drowsiness, dizziness, an increase in pulse rate, and carbon monoxide can even cross the placenta of an unborn child. So this is really bad for us. Now, another thing that we need to be aware of is ultraviolet light. Now, this light is used to scan, or in other words, photocopy an image. Now, when this machine is being operated, if not used correctly, this can cause irritation and may cause the eye to burn a little. Now, another thing that could affect our air is feces from every sort of little creature. Well, we all know from Mrs. Saraldi's class that cockroach feces is really bad for us because it can affect our breathing and our respiratory system, and it's one of the main reasons why kids have asthma these days. So hopefully tomorrow when I speak to the custodian engineer, I can know how often extermination is being done in the school to see if we're preventing this problem at all. Another thing that could affect our air quality is dust in the air. It could affect our air quality so much. It could clog up our lungs, or our nasal passages rather, not our lungs, that's for smokers. Our nasal passages, it could clog up, and hopefully tomorrow I can also ask the custodian engineer how often our rooms clean. Are they clean daily? Are they clean monthly? Are they clean weekly? So yeah. Now, with all this information that I gathered, hopefully tomorrow I can go to school and try and find out about our air quality. Tomorrow we'll speak with the custodian engineer of our school. Hopefully I can ask some questions about the extermination, ventilation, what oil is being used to heat up our school, what paints is he using, checking if they have VOCs, and hopefully tomorrow I can check out what printers we have in our school to see if they're really bad for our environment. So hopefully I can find that out tomorrow. Ice cream truck! Tomorrow, I can find that trying to get the paper. We're trying not to. So I decided to interview some of my classmates. Let's take a look at what they said.
Did you know that printers are harmful for our environment?
No.
So Najee, do you know that printers are harmful for our environment?
No, I did not know that.
Okay.
No, I did not know that. No, I did not know that.
Now, Kimberly, did you know that printers are harmful for our environment?
No, I did not.
This is the bad.
So I surveyed 16 teachers in AUP, and I asked them if they taught in a room with an AC in it. About 65% said yes, and about 34% said no. Then I asked them if they ever felt lightheaded in a room with an AC. 87% said no, and 12% said yes. Then I went on to ask them if they felt lightheaded in a room without an AC. 87% said yes, and 12% said no. Then I surveyed students. I surveyed 17 AUP students, and I asked them, do they learn in a room with an AC? 100% said yes. Then I went on to ask them if they felt lightheaded in a room with an AC. 88% said yes, and 17% said no. Then I asked them if they felt lightheaded in a room without an AC. 82% said yes, and 20% said no. Then I asked them, are windows usually open in rooms without an AC in them? 82% said yes, and 17% said sometimes. So based on the survey, our air is clean, guys. Usually people would feel lightheaded in a room with an AC in it because usually all the windows are locked and they're trying to keep the air in. They're trying to keep the air cool. So technically everybody's breathing the same air for the same amount of time, allowing people to feel lightheaded after a while. Now, people mainly felt lightheaded in a room without ACs because of the heat and because of not eating or etc. Then I interviewed the custodian engineer and I asked him several questions. Question number 1 that I asked him was, on a rate of 1 to 10, how well do you think is our school's air quality as a whole? The answer was 10. And then I asked him, how often are classrooms clean? He said daily. Question number 3, how often are walls painted? He said every year. Question number 4 was, do you know what paint is used to paint the walls? He said Benjamin Moore and Sherwin-Williams. Now, due to these questions, this helps answer our harms and our worries. Basically, since our classrooms are clean every day, it allows less dust to accumulate in classrooms, so we won't have to worry about our air being musty and stuffy. Now, question number 3, I asked how often are walls painted? He said every year, and he uses Benjamin Moore and Sherwin-Williams, which are highly recommendable paints to be used in school because they have low lead tolerance and they have low VOCs. Question number 4, I believe, was how often is extermination done in classes? He said once a month. So that helps because I personally thought it was once a year, but the fact that we're doing extermination once a month can help our school in so many ways because it allows for less feces to accumulate and less cockroaches and critter creatures to be among us in AUP. And question number 5 was, are there carbon monoxide alarms in the buildings? And where are they usually located throughout the school? He said that yes, there are carbon monoxide alarms and how they're usually located in science labs. Now, they're usually located in science labs because of chemicals that often are produced or made when we're doing labs. Now, I personally recommend for carbon monoxide alarms to be throughout the whole school, whether it's in hallways, staircases, everywhere, because you never know when we can be attacked by carbon monoxide gas. So that's why I think that we should have carbon monoxide alarms in more frequently or more around AUP or the whole building in itself. Now I asked him what oil was used to heat the school, if he knows. And he didn't know the answer. He said natural gas, which is a plus because when heat is coming up, I know often some students sit next to the heater and they're breathing all the oils and the gases from the heat, which can affect us if it's not the proper gas. And he said that number 2 oil, he uses number 2 oil when the weather is below 20 degrees, which helps keep the air more warmer and it's more safer for our environment. I also asked him if our buildings are ventilated, and he said yes. Also, I touched earlier in my video about printers, and I checked out the printers in the main office, which is the really big printer when you open the door and you walk in. It's called a Konica Minolta BizHub 423. And in Ms. Diaz's office, she has a big printer, and it's also a Konica Minolta, but it's a C284. Now these two printers are highly recommendable for schools because they let out low ozone gas and their photocopier toners are not as effective as any other printer. So these printers are safe for our environment. So I agree with our custodian engineer. Our air quality at AUP is a 10.